Welcome back, guys. Today we're back with the Duramax. We're going to tackle another little project I've been meaning to get to for quite a while. Just haven't seemed to find the time to get to it, but we're going to go ahead and do it. These things are driving me nuts. We are going to remove the door jamb bumpers, ding protectors, whatever you want to call them. We're taking them off, especially on this model. These things are huge. They might as well be a 2x4 glued to the doors of the truck. I can't stand them. So they're coming off. Truck's 10 years old. The glue's a little bit loose anyway. Wouldn't take much to just grab them and yank them off. Gorilla strength it if you want, but I'm not going to chance damaging the truck. My goal is to get them off the truck and make it look like they were never on here before. So, going to do everything we can not to cause any damage to the vehicle. Jury seems to be out on these things 50-50, whether people like them on the truck or like them off. Personally, I think it looks clean without them. So, it's my truck. They're coming off. Same process will also work if you want to debadge the entire truck, pull all the emblems off. We'll utilize the same method, and you can do that at home yourself. It's really not as difficult as it looks. Everything's just adhered onto the vehicle. Not too worried about door dings. My truck is used as a truck. There's plenty of dings and dents all over my truck, so another one isn't going to exactly make me shed a tear. Not that I'm hoping for them, but I'm sure it's bound to happen. One thing I do have going for me, unless there's another truck pulled up next to me, is that the truck's lifted enough. With my steps, they actually stick out. I don't know if I can get a good enough angle. Stick out further than the door. So odds are if somebody pulls up next to me and their kid jacks their door open, they're going to jack it right under my step, not necessarily the door. But somebody tall enough, I'm sure they can hit it. They'll find a way. So anyway, we need just a few simple things to get this project started. So let's get to it. Here's the three things I'm going to need. If you got a newer truck and your adhesive's relatively new or in decent shape, you may need some fishing line, kind of work it back behind there in a sawing motion. Help get you started, get it broken loose. Like I said, mine's coming off. I know I got a ton of dirt sticking behind those things because this thing has spent more time off-road than on the pavement. So hopefully it hasn't damaged the paint or anything like that back there, but we're going to find out. But I can already pretty much get my finger back there and start pulling it loose. So we're going to utilize the heat gun. I've seen people use it with a hairdryer. Personally, the heat gun gets a little bit warmer. You just want to loosen up that adhesive. Get yourself some adhesive remover. Personally, I'm a huge fan of the Goof Off. There's all sorts of aftermarket products out there that you can get. Most of the local auto parts box stores got all sorts of different stuff. I'm sure it'll work just fine. I'm just personally a big fan of the Goof Off. You can use that stuff. You can work it over with a rag or scraper, try and get it off, whatever you want. But I am a huge fan of the rubber eraser wheels. You can get these things on eBay for like 10 to 15 bucks. 3M makes one. ABN makes a couple different models. I think I picked this one up for like $9.50 on eBay. Saves a ton of time. Throw it in your drill. It's worth every penny that you spend on it. So those are the few things I need. We're going to go ahead and get one of them heated up, start getting it loose. We'll slowly use the heat gun, work all the adhesive off. We'll clean it up. Then we'll use the wheel, pull off all the heavy adhesive that we can. I'll use the Goof Off to get the rest of it off. Anything that seems to be stubborn. And if need be, we'll break out the polisher and a buffer and we'll buff the doors out and work them over. Like I said, the goal is to make it look like those things were never on there. So let's get started and hope for the best. Alright, so here we go. As you can see, I can kind of get my fingers under here. This old adhesive is a bit loose. I could probably really pry on that. I just want to be as delicate as possible so not to cause damage. I'm using one of my body panel tools. Just kind of wedge it back in here and cut that adhesive on the end with it a little bit. Put a little pressure so you can already see it starting to lift. Oh yeah. So this one at least is going to come off real easily. See all the mud and all the moisture come pouring out of there. That's the part that makes me really concerned about doing this on a 10-year-old vehicle, is all the moisture gets trapped behind there. So hopefully the paint looks alright when we get this thing off. If not, I'll probably just have to scratch the whole plan and put them back on because I'm not in the mood to deal with paint or issues or anything like that. It's just not worth it. But we'll go ahead and work it off and see what we've got. you don't want to get too hot or be too overzealous with it. You're just enough to kind of soften the adhesive. The camera's probably not grabbing this in real great depth, but you can kind of see the adhesive just start to melt away a little bit with the application of the heat. And we'll just keep applying gentle pressure on it. And just kind of let the heat do its work. Look at all that dirt and mud stacked under there. I told you she wasn't a pavement pencil. So far I don't see any paint bubbles or issues under all that dirt. So we're going to go ahead and continue working it off, and I'll show it to you when we get her off. Alright guys, here we are just pulling it off, and that was relatively easy. I'm super excited despite all the dirt and moisture that you can see has been trapped back there for 10 years now. The paint looks pretty good underneath the dirt, so we're going to go ahead and get that all cleaned up before I try and hit it with the rubber wheel. I don't want anything abrasive under that wheel. Pardon the interruption, I got my little helper with me today. Here's the back side. Look at all the mud stuck back underneath of that thing. So, after success with the first piece, we're going to go ahead and continue with the project. Like I said, we'll go ahead and get this cleaned up real quick. We'll use the wheel, show you how to remove the adhesive, and we'll go from there. Alright guys, got my little helper just getting it cleaned up for me. Now we got all that mud out of the way so you can really see, other than where the adhesive was, I don't see any paint damage to it, so there should be no reason we can't get this to a point where you can't tell they were ever on the truck. Alright, now that we got her all cleaned up, let's go ahead and get this adhesive off of here. I swear I've seen it probably a million times posted on different social media groups and posts. Everybody asking, how do you get the adhesive off? Everybody says, oh, use the adhesive remover. Yeah, you can do it. It will work. How much time you want to spend on this and how much elbow grease? I'm telling you guys, from every one of these I've done, this rubber wheel is worth absolutely every penny. Makes extremely quick work of this. Turn it from an all-afternoon project into something you can bang out in an hour and a half at best. You can see I've already started just a little bit. Really don't need super high RPM. Just let it kind of do its work, and you can see it'll just slowly start peeling the adhesive off. You don't need high RPM. You can see it just rolls the adhesive right off. Just kind of let the eraser do its work. And then when you're done and you got it as best as you can with the wheel, then hit it with the adhesive remover. And it'll just take the rest of that residue right off. And then if you need to polish out the door, whatever you need to do from that point on. And it should come out looking perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and keep using the wheel. Just keep working all of this off. Take me a little bit of time. I won't videotape the whole thing, but we'll cut back in here when it's time for the next step. Show you what it looks like. Coming right off. Alright guys, here we are, maybe 5 minutes later. We got the adhesive all removed with the rubber eraser. Just wipe all the junk off. That's what we got left to work with. So at this point we'll go ahead, we'll grab our adhesive remover, we'll give it a wipe down and go to work from there. That's going to need a slight buff and wax. But other than that, there you have it. You can never tell it was there. So we'll go ahead and we'll keep cracking on the rest of the truck. Super happy with it. So glad there isn't paint damage underneath of that thing. Hopefully the rest are just as lucky. So as you can tell, we got the back one off. Got it all buffed out. You can never even tell it was there. Looks super good. Couldn't be happier. We'll go ahead and tackle the driver's door. So the part where I stuck my panel tool in on the other one, right here to get it started. Usually this spot in some cases where you see guys using their fishing line, get in there and saw it back and forth to get it started. Like I said, this truck's 10 years old. You can tell I don't even need the tool on this one. It's just starting to pull loose. This truck's 10 years old, so the adhesive is old. It's getting to the point where it's brittle and easy to come off. Don't expect it to be that easy with a new vehicle. You're probably going to have to work at that adhesive a little more. See the adhesive just kind of giving away there for me. Again, full of mud and water. Patience is key. As you can see, it's coming right on off. See how in spots where that mud is, just falls right off. There it is. we'll get her buffed out and get ready to move to the other side. So far, that's what we've got. If you ask me, it looks so much cleaner. I know a lot of people don't like it, but I got a lot going on with this truck. Got a whole theme with it. It looks a lot cleaner without those. Some of the newer models got a little 1.5 2 inch strip. Doesn't look near as bad, but those big old wide things that were on this bad boy were too much. So, go ahead and buff it out real quick. If any of you guys are curious, just using a light rubbing compound. It doesn't have to be Griot's. You can use whatever brand you want. You don't need anything super duper abrasive. We'll start with the light rubbing compound. Then I go to a polish and then the wax. That's a whole nother subject. Alright guys, here you have it. One last look at the finished product. Got it all cleaned up. You got the doors all polished out. Super happy with it. Both sides went super smooth. No damage. About everything you could ask for. Here's the other side.